Well, thank you, Sue, for joining us this morning. And Soo Hong is running as a Republican candidate in the newly redrawn District 103. She is challenging the Democratic wave that is sweeping across northern Atlanta in Gwinnett that has turned blue in the last election cycle. And Sue has previously ran for Georgia House Representative 102. Unfortunately, she lost that election, but we have a new Soo Hong here who is running for District 103. And welcome, Sue.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, for our audience who are not aware of you, tell us about yourself and your background.
Sure. So I'm Soo Hong. I am running for State House District 103. I was originally born in South Korea, and my family immigrated here when I was 10 years old, and we came straight to Georgia. So since then, I've been in Georgia for almost 30 years and grew up here in Cobb County. And attended Georgia Tech undergrad on a scholarship, and eventually went on to Mercer Law School. And I've been a practicing lawyer for like 14 years now, and have had my own practice for about 12 years with two offices in Cobb and Gwinnett. I've been a resident of Gwinnett County for about 10 years now. And as we know, there is a huge Asian American population in Gwinnett County. I take care of my parents, so they feel very comfortable in Gwinnett County. So we've been there for 10 years. And yes, as you mentioned, I ran for State House District 102 and challenged a Democrat incumbent in about a 50-50 type of district, and lost for about 800 votes. But we worked hard. It was my very first campaign that I've ever ran, and I learned a lot. We worked really hard. We had a lot of supporters. And I have not stopped campaigning since the last election. I've had so many people that have encouraged me to run again, and have given me the support that I needed in order to run for office again. And so with the redistricting seat, it is a more favorable seat for a Republican. And I am the only Republican now running in that seat. I do have a Democrat challenger, but again, working hard is not new to me, and so I will be working very hard to earn votes, and I think that we will have a better result and a good result, and we'll win the seat in November.
Great. Well, Sue, your campaign slogan is to restore the American dream for every family. Can you explain the meaning behind it and why you chose this slogan?
Sure, definitely. Whenever I tell people about my story and where I am now, I am living the American dream. I came here without even knowing the alphabet, and I have, through the help of so many people in the community, so many teachers, so many friends, families, that I am a successful business owner. I'm a lawyer. I have taken leadership roles in different areas. And so, and I'm running for office. I would have never thought that as a little girl, who again didn't know America and didn't know the language, that I would be where I am. And I want that opportunity for every single student, every single children, every single family. I don't care how old you are. I want to make sure that people understand that this country is the only country that you can come to without knowing anything, without anything in your pocket. But if you work hard and let opportunities present themselves to you, that you can succeed. And we hear these stories all the time from immigrants, but that American dream is not only for immigrants, it is for everybody that is living in this country. And so I want to make sure that those opportunities are given to people in our state. I want to make sure that people understand hard work is important, and catching the opportunities that come your way is also important. It is a more of a not only a policy type of goal, in the sense that we really do want to make sure that opportunities are given and that we have abundance of jobs and entrepreneurship opportunities here in our state, but also it is a matter of living a lifestyle of, again, teaching, especially our younger generation, that working hard will get you places that you've never imagined, but that government handouts will only get you so far.
Mhm. And one of your campaign goal is to eliminate the state income tax, which I find very interesting. And explain to our audience the reasons and the objective of the action
Of
that
course.
you like to take.
Sure, of course. The bill has been presented, so it is not a new concept that I'm coming up with. And there are many states in our country that have eliminated income tax. I think it will give employees an opportunity to earn more money. I think we can substitute income tax from consumer tax. And so there are ways, as far as budgeting goes, that we can collect those taxes in other ways that would be fair to everybody. It has worked in many states, including many states. And so I want to make sure that we look at those opportunities for our people in our state. Um, I'm not privy to a lot of things that representatives are privy to right now, as far as budgeting and numbers and et cetera. But I think that if other states can do it, and if that can work and it can help people that are working hard in our state, that is something that I like to look into, and to see about getting a bill out there that would be favorable in that way.
Okay, that's interesting. Um, Oftentimes, we all know that one of the top uh, concerns or priority for Asian American parents is education. And you have campaigned to protect the parental rights in education. Um, why is it so important to you to protect the parental rights, Sue?
So I think, as many people know, during COVID, it really opened parents' eyes to what our children are learning in schools. Even before then, however, I think it's important to understand that your parents, as parents, they are going to be the ones that know the best of how their children are learning. They are going to be the ones that will know what they want their children to learn in school, and again, how they're going to process that information. And so I think it's important for us to give that power to our parents. Through COVID, a lot of parents' eyes have been open because they've been able to stay home and actually see and hear what the children are learning in schools. And it's shocked some people. It's surprised a lot of people, and I'm sure there are parents that were agreeable to what their children were learning. But having opened that door, we've realized that there are a lot of things that our children are learning in schools that our parents may not be agreeable to. And so I think it's important for us to give parents the voice to say, these are things that we do not believe are appropriate for our children, or our children in that age. I, especially be given an Asian culture, culturally, I think Asian Americans in general, we put a huge emphasis on education. And so did my family. And so, you know, and it's unfortunate a lot of immigrant families don't really know or know how to participate in the education of our children when they come to this country because of the language barrier as well. And so I've tried to educate our immigrant families as well on what their children are doing, to what they're learning and how they're learning things in school. And so it's kind of a twofold. I think in general, we need to make sure that parents understand and have a voice in what our children are learning and how they're learning it. And then as far as our immigrant families go, and me being wanting to be a representative in Gwinnett County with so many immigrant families, I want to make sure that that information is also distributed amongst those families that may not may have that language barrier and still be able to understand what their children are learning.
Another question pertaining to education is that Governor Kemp is very big in a proponent of education. He has proposed to raise the funding for school teachers in the state. As a state legislator, if you're elected, what are you going to do in terms of helping uh, teachers uh, to seek funding and also perhaps to be better compensated to be teachers in this great state of Georgia?
Yeah, that is one of the stark contrasts, I think, between when I first came to the United States. Teachers are incredibly respected in Asian culture, and they are compensated very well. They are very important in um, the growing part of our students and our children in our country. And so I fully supported when Governor Kemp gave raises to our teachers. Um, we are going through this cultural, political divide, within the left and the right. And I think it is also being fought within our education system. And so, there are a lot of people on both sides that are either for or against, teachers being compensated or who our teachers should be. But taking all of that aside, I think it is important to compensate and have good teachers that are willing to teach our children fundamental things that are needed, aside from teaching what they believe or their political beliefs or their cultural beliefs, but instead those fundamental beginning educational things that you're supposed to learn in school, especially in grade school. And I think in order for us to be able to recruit good teachers that know what they're teaching, I think it's going to depend on actually compensating them well as well. And so I will, again, it's going to be about budget and it's et cetera, but I'm always for teachers. If it weren't for teachers, I want to be where I am. They're the ones who taught me English. They're the ones that were there during breaks and, reading me books. I have very fond memories of teachers when I first came here and how wonderful they were. And I know there are a lot of teachers that really want to do well for and take their jobs seriously. And so I want to be a fighter for the teachers.
That's good. Now, as an Asian American candidate, what is the single most important agenda that you hope to accomplish on behalf of the AAPI community in your constituent and the state?
Yeah, so given the fact that we have such a huge and a growing Asian American population here in Georgia, um, we are, we have one in the state representatives, we have two Asian Americans, I believe, full second generation Asian Americans. Um, and I will, when I take office in next year, I will be the first Korean American female to be a state legislator here in Georgia. And given that, I want to make sure that Asian Americans, having provided so much to our state, especially with our small businesses, want to make sure that they have somebody that they can turn to hear their concerns and their voices. Too many times, I think within the Asian American communities, they stay together and they don't really go outside of the group. And there aren't anybody that they can really turn to that would listen to their concerns. And, again, culturally, I think Asian Americans will just say, something's bad, well, I'll just deal with it. But I want to make sure that they understand that there are things that can change and there are people that are willing to listen to their voice. And I would like to be that type of legislator. In addition, I want to increase political activism, and I want to increase voting within the Asian American community. There is definitely a lack of education when it comes to voting in our state within the Asian American community, as well as just how the political process works. And I've noticed that when I ran for office last time, I've had people in the Asian American community that called me and said, I've lived in Georgia for 40 years and this is the first time I'm voting, and can you help me to vote? And it is definitely a language barrier issue that has kept them from participating and from wanting to have their voices heard. But I think having somebody within their community be a leader and somebody that they can turn to, I think will give them more confidence and more willingness to participate and I guess complain about things that are not going their way. And I think it's their right to do so. And I hope that I can be that representative for them. One of the reasons why I decided to run was was noticing that there is a huge Asian American community, and there weren't anybody on the Republican side that can really be a representative for that community. And so I hope to do that. And I hope to do that for Asian American communities in all over the state, not just my district.
That's great. Well, Sue, we are coming close to an end of our interview. I'd like to ask you something fun and unique. Tell us something about you that most people are unaware of.
I think because I'm always talking about, having gone to school and then always school and then professional. I've traveled a lot. I've had the opportunity to travel a lot. And when I graduated college, I backpacked through Europe by myself for 2 months. And my parents were like, you are not going to do that. But that was something that I've always wanted to do. So I did that, and it was the greatest experience. I've met so many people and really opened myself up and my personality up to what's out there, and being able to be in different places and new places and meet new people. And so I think that really kind of formed, my personality and my willingness to be able to go out there and try new things. And I think that's why I'm good at certain things, like, hey, like politics is something important, something important, and I like to do it. And it's given me that kind of confidence to try new things in life.
That's great. And for people who like to support your campaign, how can they reach you, or where can they write you a check?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page, which is Soo Hong for State House. My website is hongforgeorgia.com. And you can find my cell phone number, my address, my email address, which is sue@hongforgeorgia.com. Please contact me if you have any questions. If you just want to talk, you can call me. That happens often, and it's nice. But I would love the support of especially our Asian American community here in Georgia. And again, working hard has never been, is always been in my blood, and I'm willing to work harder when I am elected. And I hope that I can speak to as many people as possible and reach out to as many people as possible. So, and thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you for your time. I know you're a busy attorney and a small business owner, um, but it's important for us in the community to hear what you have to say and represent us. And I wish you the very best in your campaign, and look forward to your success in your election.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can continue to do an interview with you once you get elected to the office.
That's right. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well.